Now recently, a pro has been accused of cheating. Now these accusations came with about 4 or 5 suspicious clips. Also, all these clips are gathered from 2 different matches. Far too little to say that this is an accurate representation of if this guy is cheating or not. And because of that, I decided to dive a little bit deeper. I found the demos of where all these clips were gathered from and his last LAN tournament. I'll be not only looking at the clips, but also comparing them to how he plays on LAN to see if there is any major changes. All this right after a word from this video's sponsor. If you want to sell your skins quickly, safely, and easily, then check out sellyourskins.com. Sell Your Skins is rated a 4.5 on Trustpilot by over 165,000 users. Talk about being trusted. The link is in the description below. They offer higher prices than other cash-out sites. And you can get paid through PayPal, Revolt, Bank Transfer, and other various methods. You can also receive up to 5% more cash through the site ranking system. If you use the link in the description and promo code TIMES, you will get an extra 5% as well. That's sellyourskins.com. Now all the clips that were clipped were originally from the terrorist side of Mirage. So that is what I'll be focusing on here. Now in one of these 2 online matches, he did the exact same pistol round that he did in the LAN game. So let's see how different they look. As you can see, both entries are fairly similar, even everything down to him shooting the guy in CT spawn. Also, there's another thing to take away here that we'll be revisiting in the future. When he expects someone over here, he jumps out to peek. Also, I know some of you are going to want to see the second half of the pistol round in that first game, so here's that. Keep in mind, one subtle thing that will be different from game to game is that online he probably will look a little bit more confident just because of how things are. You don't play LANs every day. Now I should mention that he won this LAN a few weeks before these allegations. Now let's compare his Underpass takes. As you can see, his teammate is aggressive here and he was holding for the push already. Maybe his other teammate had spotted this guy out in middle. His playstyle looks like it's mostly about aggressive, unexpected pushes. That being said, here's a situation in which he doesn't seem to have as much information as he should have. His teammate goes down over there at the A site, so he knows at least one guy's in the A site on the left-hand side, yet he decides to continuously push through this smoke in connector, which really just seems like an overall bad play. Especially if this guy's radar hacking like the allegations say. On LAN, however, he does not stop to wait for someone to push, and then he pushes his way through, but he also takes it a lot more safely, where he actually wraps around with his teammates and comes back to B. Now keep in mind, in this situation, he is the first guy in line. In the other demo, he was actually the second guy, which is probably why he sat back and waited in case someone pushed. In fact, if you clearly watch the radar, you can see that his teammate does exactly what he did in the online game and waits back for a push from the CT. Okay, let's look at one of the most suspicious rounds from the online match. And yes, I know it looks absolutely suspicious as hell. It just looks so reckless that he has to know this guy is here. But luckily, there is a direct equivalent at the LAN event he played. Now I know what you're thinking, maybe he just decided to do this after the allegations to make it look like he's less suspicious. But this tournament happened way before the allegation. It really does seem to be a high-risk play that they have. What is, however, still very suspicious is at the very beginning of this play when he jumps out for the AWP. By contrast, on LAN, he peeks every angle until contact. Here's another round that was brought up by a few people. You can see that there is one CT over there by Van. Now another CT does eventually rotate over here, and his teammates are fighting one guy up on catwalk. But right here he hears a footstep, and that's why he continues to look over here by Van. Then a moment later he hears the CT take shots towards a guy in middle, and then he hears 2 CTs on catwalk taking shots towards middle. These 2 CTs were most likely spotted out by his teammates and called, so why does he keep watching this guy over by Van? It really does look like he knows he's there. Maybe it's something as simple as knowing which player tends to play over here and how he plays it. It's hard to find a relative round on land, but this was the closest I could find. You can see that he still sets his crosshair up in a good position for anyone that's aggressive here looking to get information. Oh, we've all seen this clip where he seems to know exactly where the CT is on this eco round. Now he did something almost exactly the same in another online match. Meanwhile, in similar situations on land, he really struggled to predict their positioning. Even on this Mac 10 round, you can see that he's unsure of the enemy's location. And here is him using the Mac 10 online. And it looks like he's doing the exact same execute. But here's the weird thing. On land, he just kind of chases down the guy in sight, while online, he seems aware of the guy on catwalk, even though he sees the guy going into sight. Granted, a guy on catwalk does throw this nade, so he knows there's a guy catwalk, but how come he doesn't expect a guy catwalk the other time? Now, we do have this other online game, and here he does another Mac 10 take, and you can see he does not look towards catwalk. So maybe it's just one of those things, if he doesn't get information, he just only looks towards the site. Now, this is one of the most suspicious clips that was brought up. A couple things that we should pay attention to is that the score is 12-11, which means even if they lose this round, they still just go to overtime. In theory, this would give him a little bit more flexibility to do something high risk. Here is the exact same play on land. Okay, so maybe it's not the exact same play, but look at all the utility coming in. This is how you're supposed to play the A site. He doesn't even have the opportunity to get to the guy under balcony. In fact, the only times they take this site fast, he chucks sandwich both times. And this play didn't even happen once against the other team they played online. In fact, here are all of his A takes from that game. And if you look back even farther in his history, you can see that he's down 6-0 in this game, and he has rounds like this. Keep in mind, neither him or his teammates ever see someone behind Tri-Box, but he knows exactly where this guy is. How can he possibly be so much more aware online than he is on land? I want to say this guy's legit, but to me it looks like he's using some kind of vision assistance. On land, he rarely predicts the exact position of the enemy, whereas online, he's almost never wrong. Alright, so we've seen the round where he peeks the guy over at Tri-Box, and he seems to be absolutely focused on it. We know how much he loves to watch Van, but here you can see he completely ignores Van, knowing that there's a guy on catwalk. He's not worried about the site at all. This round, he's already ready for the guy jumping up on the right-hand side by Van. Usually he looks either in the middle or at the left-hand side. It just happens far too consistently for me to ignore. I say that he's got to be using some kind of external assistance. Because everything makes sense when you watch the LAN games, and he's playing off of sound cues like a good player would. Meanwhile, online, there's a lot of little things, like him jumping out when there's an AWP holding an angle, even though he has no information. And staring at Tri-Box, even though he has no visibility of this guy and has no idea where he could possibly be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and don't get matched up against too many cheaters.